Hey guys, what's going on? So today we are going over one of the new units, Gatito or Catsi in this video. And just quickly before we start, if you didn't notice, there is a event going on right now. Gym upgrades are 20% off, so make sure to upgrade any gyms you are planning to use during the event. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're just gonna hop over to our Astro Guide. I've already kind of looked over all of them already, and they are all actually good in their own way, except maybe one of them. But anyway, we're going to start with the fire one. So this is probably the one that's not really all that good. Recovery down, never really been a fan of recovery down. Like maybe in Astromon League this skill would be okay. And then petrification is also the worst CC because it gives them increased defense. Like if you're going to use it on your last turn or whatever, then that might be fine because then it'd be like stun or whatever. But then again, he is only single target active, so you always have to keep that in mind. So arguably this is the worst Catsi or the worst Gatito. But regardless, we're going over all of them. So there are his skills. He is a balanced type, and honestly I'm not too sure how to build him. I'm not sure if anyone's actually going to be going for the fire one or not, but since he is balanced type and his skills don't really fall into any special category except maybe Astromon League, I would build him with a bit more attack. So maybe an attack gym with the attack set and then an HP and a defense to just make him kind of all around balanced with a little bit more emphasis on attack power. And so we're moving on to the Water Gatito, which is arguably the best out of the three base elements, wood, fire, and water. And yeah, he does actually have really good skills, 100% chance to reduce the enemy's attack, which is one of the most powerful debuffs, especially for dungeons and dragons that do a lot of burst damage, especially the dragons. Attack down has saved my ass a lot of times in dragons, and with a 100% chance for 2 turns, that's very good. And then his 5-star skill, well, that wouldn't be very good for dragons because they're immune to sap, but still a very powerful sap at 80% chance, 2 types, 2 turns. Even though it is single target, there's still some good sap going on there. So the Water Gatito would be best in golems, dungeons in general, because he has that single target which makes his active much more powerful, and then the attack down and sap. So he is a pretty good one, and he is a defender, and actually since most of his damage I would say would be coming from sap, although with his single target active skill he will be doing a lot more single target damage as well, so I wouldn't ignore attack completely, but I would focus definitely more on defense. So maybe either try and get some decent attack substats or go for the attack set and then 2 defense and an HP percent. That would just make him nice and tanky all around so he can continue attack downing and sapping the boss. So now we're moving on to Wood Gatito, taking a look at his skills. He has 100% chance defense down, so he is actually really good just for this skill alone. Defense down is arguably the best debuff in the game because it's universal and it really helps you kill any bosses or actually any enemies a lot quicker, so it would also be good for Astromon League. Fatigue, never been a fan of fatigue, but it is 100% chance. It is for 3 turns, but single target fatigue, okay, so I'm not a fan of his 5-star skill, definitely not, but I think his 3-star skill pretty much makes up for it. So I'd say all around he is a pretty good Astromon here. Even so, if I had to choose one Gatito out of the 3, I'd probably go with the water one still because both of his skills are good. Sap and attack down, very, very good skills, but defense down I think is better than attack down. Even so, I'd probably go with the water one. So he is an attacker, which means, of course, you should be trying to invest something in attack. And since his main role is to defense down, he will also be doing more damage against whoever he's defense downing. But also you want to make sure he can stay alive so he continues defense downing and doing damage. So even though I would probably go at least 1 attack gym and the attack set or 2 attack gyms just to make him more powerful, I definitely would invest in either trying to get high substats in defense and HP or going with a defense set and a defense gym or the HP set and a defense gym. Just a little bit less priority on survivability than attack, but still definitely some priority there. I mean, since he's not a critical mon, so one that needs a lot of crit rate, a lot of crit damage to be really useful, and his skills don't really rely on that either, you don't really have to focus too much on attack, although I would consider it maybe not 2 attack gyms, maybe go 1 attack gym and the attack set, and then the other 2 gyms for survivability, so an HP and a defense, or 2 defense, whatever you want. The light and dark ones are new units that you can only get through fusion, and if you didn't know, I'm going to bring you through the process really quick. So to get the light one, for example, you will need a Fire Gatito at Evo 2 and a Water Gatito at Evo 2, both max level. And also, if you didn't know, the water one you can get on extreme mode, and the fire one I believe is on normal mode. So you need to farm normal mode to get the fire one, and extreme mode to get the water one, hard mode to get the grass one down here if you want the Dark Gatito. So anyway, taking a look at Light Gatito, which is probably, I'm not sure. Personally, I'm going for the dark one, but I still think the light one is really good as well. Let's just take a look at his skills. So his normal skill is very powerful, 2 turns of sap at a 100% rate. Unfortunately, it's not 2 stacks, but that I think would be a little bit too powerful. Fire Persephone has 2 types of sap for 1 turn, so it is arguably as powerful as Fire Persephone's first skill, because ultimately after the first turn, then you'll have 2 stacks all the time anyway, since, yeah, never mind. So it's about as powerful as Fire Persephone's first skill, which is saying something. She's like the queen of sap. But anyway, his 5-star skill is HP Aggression, which is kind of interesting. So the more HP he has, the more damage he will do with his active skill. So I can see a lot of damage coming from here, especially because he is a single target like they all are. And he is a tank, so that's quite perfect. Personally, if I were going for the light one, I would just go completely full HP, maybe a resist gem or the resist set, just because resist is so important later on in the game. But I would definitely focus mostly on HP and nothing else, because it's actually kind of perfect, because with his first skill, he won't be doing too much damage, but he will be sapping, which is a form of damage in itself. And then with his 5-star skill, it'll be based on his HP. So you definitely don't need to bother with attack or defense, because having a lot of HP is still a form of survivability. In my opinion, it's not as good as defense because they're harder to heal, but he will definitely have enough survivability with just going mostly HP. So now we're moving on to the one I'm choosing to go for, which is Dark Gatito. He is actually very similar to Light Jack in that he has the same skills almost exactly. His morale boost is a little bit better because it doesn't need a critical to restore 30% of the SP, and his 5-star skill is the same, just critical hit damage by 50%. The main 2 differences between him and Light Jack is that since he is a Dark Astromon, he will naturally have 100% crit damage instead of 50% crit damage like a Light Astromon, and he is single target. So the damage potential here is probably the highest of any Astromon I've seen yet for single target damage, so against bosses. So yeah, the damage potential here is extremely, extremely high with the right gems. But the one bad thing is, not only do you need 8 Gatitos to even summon him, and at least having 1 grass one from hard mode, but then you have to pray and hope he has at least 1 square slot, because he definitely needs at least 1 square slot for a crit rate gem. It is possible to get a decently high crit rate without a square, but it's very, very hard. You need to get extremely lucky with the substats on the other gems and go for the crit rate set, so intuition, but that's a much, much harder road to go down. So when you do summon him, just pray a little bit to RNGesus that he has a square slot. So assuming your Dark Gatito does have a square slot, I would first of all give him the crit rate square. That's absolutely necessary in my opinion. And in one of the other slots, I would give him attack power, because he is a damage dealer. He needs to deal damage. The more natural attack power he has, the more crit will affect that. And in the last slot and the set bonus kind of depends on what you really want out of him. I haven't really decided yet, but I'm thinking about saving the last slot for a survivability, so either a defense or an HP gem, depending on how his stats look like once he's maxed. So as you can see, at 4-star level 40 Evo 3, he will have 14,000 HP, 2,000 attack, 1,500 defense. So his defense stat is actually quite high compared to his HP stat. So if I were going to give him some survivability, it would be in defense for sure. And then the set bonus would either be intuition or attack, probably, to give him either more crit rate if he needs it. I know it is possible to get 100% crit rate with only 1 crit square, but it is really hard because you still have to get quite lucky with the substats, have them go boosted when you're leveling up the gym instead of any other stats. So depending on what type of gyms I can find, I'll either go for intuition or attack, but I don't think I'm going to give more than 1 gem to survivability, because ultimately he is kind of meant to be a glass cannon. You do need to protect him a lot, but on the chance, like if enemies have their active skills ready and they're going to do some area of effect, then I do want him to survive that, because it would be a huge shame to have all that DPS just die on you in the first round or so. And then you also have to think about resist, so probably I'm just going to try and get resist on the substats, although I'm not too sure. You know, with units like this, it's very hard to try and cover all your bases, because you want to get as close to 100% crit rate as possible, because that's kind of what 90% of his damage is based on. That's not an actual figure, that's just me saying whatever. But if you're not landing the crits, you're definitely using much less than his potential. So that's basically priority 1, is getting his crit rate up as high as you can. Next would be attack power and then survivability, so resist, defense, HP. Crit damage is also another option, so going for the ruin set. I never ever recommend crit damage gems. The ruin set, so the crit damage set, is actually good because it gives you 40%, unlike say 20% attack power for the attack set. So if you have all your bases covered and you just want more damage, then you can definitely go for the ruin set, but that's totally up to you. But that will be it for the Gatito review. Ultimately, I think they're actually all kind of good in their own way, except for the fire one. He's actually not that good. Don't recommend going for him at all, to be honest. Yuki Soul Stones. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about the new unit here. Which one are you planning on going for? Tell me down in the comments below. But that will do it for today. Make sure to drop a like if you did enjoy. Thanks, as always, for watching. And until next time.